We nearly lost Bernd there. Please.
Hi, David. Hi.
Well, introduction's over. Speaker has turned moderator. Bernd Reichart, thanks very much for joining us. And we've got so much to ask. I see the audience has grown. So many people were contacting me saying, ask him this, ask him that. There's a lot of interest in this talk. So we're going to get going straight away.
Wonderful.
I think the question that so many people want to know, off the back of the Super League story, April 2021, we all remember it so vividly. It was launched and then it died. So is the Super League still alive, really, or is it dead?
It is very much alive. I'm happy to say so, even though some others insist in a different version of the story. But we are back for a broad dialogue with all the stakeholders of the football family, and with the ambition to make European club football better.
You say that, but the backlash was huge. The English clubs pulled out straight away. The launch was disjointed, to put it politely. Governments got involved and threatened legislative action. There were only 3 clubs left standing at the end. Yet they've appointed a CEO, and you're going again. Why? Is it worth it?
I think caring about the future of European football is very much worth it, and it's a personal and a professional challenge which I'm happy to take on. There's a lot to communicate as well. I think the last 1.5 years have proven that European football has some existential problems we have to discuss. They're not going away by just being complacent with the status quo. And there are evolutions to be communicated as well. The initiative has listened, has learned, has reassessed some things, and we got a lot of reaction on concepts like the openness of the competition. We took the concept of permanent membership, which was part of the harsh criticism a year and a half ago. We took it off the table because the scope of the change and the view on European Cup competition has broadened, also against the backdrop of change which might be induced in court.
So if you're taking closed competition out of it, and you're doing this and you're doing that to garner more support and interest, is that not just like what we've already got? What's the difference now to what failed in April 21?
Well, I think one central argument is, are we delivering the best games on European stage week after week? Actually, like the Premier League did, we just talked about that. Is there a chance to have more attractive matches on European level, not starting in February, March when we go into knockout stages, but before, in order to engage our audience, grow the game, and connect with young audiences, which we also just discussed.
I think many people here will want to know what's happening right now. Who's involved? Who's not involved? Is it just those 3 clubs? Are you just trying to dig them out of a hole? Juventus, Real Madrid and Barcelona?
No, it goes beyond the interests of any particular club. Of course, they started also addressing the problems most recently when they talk to their members or to their stakeholders. They continue to care and to worry and to suggest solutions. The dimension of the change we expect is important, and we want to reach out to a broad number of stakeholders, because that's what I signed up for, to care about the whole ecosystem, to look at it, to improve it. And if changes in governance is enabling the clubs to take control and to master their own destiny, then clubs should be aware and they should be prepared.
So if we're in a period of consultation now, you're putting the groundwork in for the Super League. Is that what should have been done in April 2021? Was it a mistake how it was launched? Because the reaction suggested that the way it was launched was part of the reason why it died.
Yeah, well, I was still in another job and then looked at it and didn't understand part of the communication either. But the problem was that there was actually not a dialogue allowed, because everybody was focusing on the permanent membership aspect of a clear format which was proposed. There was an ambience of threat and sanctions and of clubs being expelled for making a proposition. This time, I hope it can be different, and a dialogue which is necessary can be conducted, and so I'm happy to initiate that.
So 12 has gone into 3 at the moment. Is 3 going to expand? And I need to ask you, do you think the Premier League clubs will ever be involved in this? Or is the Premier League now the opposition to the ESL?
We don't go against anybody. It's an inclusive dialogue. Of course, everybody is free to join us, but why shouldn't they? If we discuss about a change in the legal landscape and who's be able to offer and to run and to govern European club competitions, why shouldn't clubs who are currently participating in the European club competitions not contribute in shaping the future? So let's see.
You mentioned legal landscape there. On the 15th of December, the European Court of Justice is going to be making a fairly important decision. How important is that for the ESL? Is the 15th of December in Luxembourg, the ECJ, make or break for the European Super League?
Well, it's an important stepstone. I don't think that dialogue is unnecessary, even absolutely independently of the outcome of the ECJ case. I think it's good to find consensus of what's going wrong and what could be better. I think we should talk about the economic stress most clubs are facing, also maybe troubled by the corona pandemic, financial fair play, investments in the women's game, solidarity payment with the grassroots sport. Those are debates, I think, which are necessary independently of the outcome of the ECJ case. What in Luxembourg is obvious is to be decided whether or not only one organization with headquartered in Switzerland is allowed to be a regulator, a gatekeeper, admitting competition, and with a huge conflict of interest, as I believe, be the only commercial operator currently in the game.
So if it rules in your favor or favorably towards the ESL position, is it on? Is the Super League going to start to gather pace again?
Well, if the dialogue is able to come up with a good, coherent, self-governed, club-run competition, then we made a lot of progress. If there is any opportunity which arises, so I think it wouldn't be responsible to continue to run a court case without actually thinking and anticipating one head ahead and reaching out to your peers of the football family to say, are we all aware that change can be fundamental? Do we agree that reforms are needed? If we can get in charge, would we just leave everything as it is? I don't think so. I think clubs and stakeholders and players will come up with a lot of ideas, and why not kick that off?
Well, UEFA would say they're already doing that. We're the ones who are coming up with these conversations and ideas now, but you obviously contest that.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that somebody is claiming that I own football or I am football and you are not football. The ownership of football is a concept I dislike. There are clubs who already approached us in the last week since our announcement, and they said, and from very interesting territories also raised their hand and say, you claim that you want to set up a competition scheme which is open. Actually, UEFA is not open anymore to a number of clubs. We can't get in. We don't have a meaningful path. We are clubs from all over Europe in smaller leagues with a big tradition, with a huge fan base. But as a matter of fact, we believe that we are forgotten. We don't have a meaningful European path. So in a way, it is interesting what ideas and concepts and also analysis of problems are thrown at us right now.
So you're hearing from some smaller clubs, but what about the bigger clubs? Are they showing that their stance has changed at all from when it collapsed? Are you growing in confidence here, Bernd?
No, yeah, I'm really excited about my first week and about the reactions and the willingness to engage, and also the respect shown to clubs who are eager to continue to live up to their responsibility and to continue to suggest solutions. So yeah, the doors are pretty open, but of course a dialogue is voluntary per definition.
if the ECJ rules unfavorably for you and in favor of the likes of UEFA and FIFA, are you saying the dialogue continues still then, or is that a hammer blow to you?
I cannot speculate because I'm not even a lawyer, but my understanding is that this is a clear and fierce monopoly within the heart of the European Union, and I completely trust in the judges to make the right call, and of course we will accept whatever the outcome is. If it's allowing clubs to shape their own future, if it recognizes that they are actually the ones who take all the risk in the sports, all the financial risks, and they should have a say, then that is my expectation. Beyond that, it's the call of the judges.
You talk a lot about the dialogue, but what about the actual format? Do we have any more clarity now than we did in April 2021 about redistribution, about women's football, about how it would exactly work, or are you not prepared to go down that road today?
No, I think a year and a half ago, they went down that road and suggested a format where everybody jumped on, and it was absorbing most part of the criticism, meritocracy, permanent membership. Those were the key words of the discussion, and we didn't even get to talk about women's football, about investments, about financial fair play, which is not really enforced in Europe. And governance. So now we are, since the scope of the European context is bigger, we are not talking about a top-tier competition. We are talking about European club football because that's under scrutiny. I think it's mandatory to listen first, and I came recently to the table. My understanding of dialogue is also listen first and not take out some fancy paperwork where I actually still lack credibility to give lessons. I want to hear, I want to learn, and then I want to put it into something which is, of course, at one stage to be presented.
Good intentions, but everybody here will have seen the backlash, the protests of supporters, the withdrawal of clubs, the government intervention that was being threatened. What makes you think that that won't all happen again? It can't just be that you're going to talk. These guys will rev up their engines again to try and stop you, surely.
No, I didn't experience what you just said. So in a way,
you saw it.
I saw it back then, but it didn't happen when we now explain under which circumstances, with clear messages, how we explain that our approach has evolved. So at the end, I believe that fans are fans of clubs, not of governing bodies, and they are fans of clubs and not competitions. So I think we will have to find a good balance of preserving the tradition of the game, which I think is a key aspect of football. But on the other hand, we have to be aware in which surrounding we have to continue to grow and care about the game.
On the A22 Twitter page, there's a video of you pinned at the top that makes some quite strong proclamations. For example, you talk about European football is facing existential problems. European football is losing its undisputed leadership position in global sports. Do you really think that?
Well, if you look at studies of the top 32 clubs, there are only 5 who are in black numbers. That's an obvious fact that there is a lot of financial stress, and that that on both sides, either a better competition improve the revenue side of the business, and strong financial control address the cost side of the business. Currently, European football is not self-funding anymore. It needs external capital injections outside the system, and that's not sane. That's not good.
That's exactly what the ESL would be doing, no? External capital injections. Where would your money be coming from? What's your financial model?
It would be generated by an attractive competition who is improving the attractiveness, the followership, the viewership on a global stage. If you look at England, I think the English Premier League is a good example. They are part of problem who are fiercer in terms of economics in continental Europe, whereas the English Premier League is growing, is offering to a global audience attractive matches week after week with top games, just from match day one, telling a beautiful story until the end of the year. So why not looking at those examples and see whether or not the Champions League and the Europa League can, or the Conference League can improve that, because I don't think that the format 24-27 is fixing the problem of too many inconsequential games.
You admire the Premier League, but what if their clubs don't come on board? Will this go ahead even without the Premier League, in your view?
That's speculation. We don't know what to propose, and they don't know what to accept or not accept.
Can it happen
but
without them?
It is the project, and the reach out is not excluding anybody, and has the ambition of improving the current quality of European football competitions.
You also said that we're not offering the best matches week after week. Do you really think that everybody wants to be seeing Real Madrid playing Manchester City more often than they already are?
I do so, yes. And you just have to look at Champions League data as well. There are games who have no consequence on the outcome of the competition, which are played like last week or this week, where people already know I'm through, I'm not through, I'm first, I'm second, compared to a regular, attractive top game. It's factor 6 in terms of viewings globally. So yes, I believe that particularly young generations want the best games, attractive competition with a lot of excitement, and I think we can deliver that if we want.
You've said the current financial model is broken and unsustainable. The financial controls are inadequate. What are your financial controls going to be? Is that set out yet?
It was 1.5 years ago. We stick to that. There had been financial fair play rules communicated. Some have been, funny enough, adopted by the UEFA in their sustainability, financial sustainability initiative. But again, on a different level and on a much laxer, broader consequence. I think enforcement is also the problem, that you just escape from your financial fair play rules, and I think this is doing some harm to the spiral of costs that can be controlled and should be.
And you've got a clear vision of the solidarity and how that would work, because I think that's one of the biggest questions in all of this.
Really, really important. Also there, back 1.5 years ago, and then we will renew that in a comprehensive approach. It was tripling the amount the UEFA is destinating, and which is not really reaching a grassroots and the bottom of the pyramid. I think we can do, as a system, we can do better on solidarity as well, and it's an important part.
Well, I think we'll wrap with a question on whether this is going to happen. 24, 25, you've been reported of saying is the earliest point at which this could potentially come about. I got to ask you directly, are we going to be seeing a Super League at some point in the future?
I'm not sure if it's called Super League then. We are really caring about. We want to bring clubs in control of European club competitions. We want all together to design on a format who is really making a step ahead. And I did say that the first reasonable check mark could be 24-27 also, because their new Champions League format is also on the horizon, which I do not particularly like. But apart from there, we make it step by step. We just started to engage in a dialogue. We continue to reach out to stakeholders, and it's an ambitious goal, but I think it's worth fighting for, and I'm really motivated to go there.
How have UEFA reacted towards you? Do they hate you?
Why should somebody be hated who says I want to talk? And actually, as a matter of fact, we sent them a letter explaining what we're here for. They acknowledged that and sent an invite back. And so anytime soon, I will sit down with them as well. our positions are clear. We have there is even a court case which is in a way overshadowing the relations. But I think it's good for clubs also to see that dialogue is possible, even if somebody is still, some clubs might still shying away because they know that the rules of engagement and the statutes of the UEFA can be sometimes tricky and troublesome around sanctions. So if I'm able to talk to the UEFA, I should be able to talk to any clubs as well.
Last but not least, by any means, women's football. You touched upon it then. We've got about 30 seconds, sadly. How genuinely important is that to your proposal?
Much more important than the 30 seconds you gave me.
Of course.
But I think there's so many opportunities alongside a competition to give them more visibility. To think about how to connect the matches of the men's and the women's. To maybe even to think about only accessing to the competition if you run a females team as well. So this is something I would like to explore. What is missing? What is the missing link in order to really promote a game who I'm sure, about 100% sure, in the next years will grow and grow and grow. And we will help them.
Thank you. Bernd Reichart, thank you very much. Round of applause.
Thanks, David.